It is 1:21. I'm John Little, and Eli Lilly is cutting the list prices for some commonly prescribed insulin by as much as 70%. And they say it's going to make a big impact. Paul Seegert, managing partner at PCS Advisors, joins me as an insurance and healthcare cost expert. And Paul, is this as big of a deal as the headline leads us to believe?
I think it is. This is the biggest news we've had around insulin in about 100 years. We've got this, you could almost call it a cartel of three companies that control insulin, largely because of their ability to maximize, maybe take advantage of, depending how you look at it, the rules we have in this country around patent protection. They've done it for 100 years. They've continued to extend these patent protections on insulin without the pressure that they've felt from, I think, folks like you get the credit, really, media and all of us that are out there talking about the waste that's involved in the cost of insulin. They're voluntarily choosing to reduce list price by 70% for their product, one of the three big manufacturers.
So this is one of the three manufacturers. Will the other two have to follow suit?
It'll be very interesting to see. I would not be shocked if they do. I look at all these things and I always say, why are they doing it? You know, money drives so much of the way our system operates, for better or for worse. There's enough momentum out there now, public support for addressing this, that I think there's, as the three companies that are running this, they're probably at a point, or could be at a point, where it makes sense to voluntarily do some things rather than have rules change. You know, better to keep a monopoly and get less revenue per transaction than lose it altogether, I think, is where we are, perhaps.
Are there other drugs that have been patent protected like this for a long time that might start to fall by the wayside, Paul?
Well, I hope we see more of this. I think this gives me some hope. I get on interviews almost every day to talk about the way we pay for healthcare in this country, and it can get a little bit discouraging when you see the outcomes that we get for the dollars that we spend and so on. But in our system, if you improve a drug, then you essentially can kind of start over on these patent protections. You know, not purely coincidental that as soon as those protections are getting toward the end, oftentimes the drug gets released, a new version of it gets released that extends it. Humira had done that. That was the most commonly prescribed specialty drug in this country, and they'd been stringing that together for decades, and it was going up and up and up. It was 60,000 or so a year to have someone on that drug. We finally have a biosimilar coming out, and we'll see how that rolls out and how that impacts things, but it certainly is positive. It will likely take some time to deliver a big impact to the overall system for, you know, time for adoption, time to get added to formularies and so on, but it is a good thing that we're seeing.
That is Paul Seegert. He's managing partner at PCS Advisors. Really appreciate the insight.